Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now let's meet our guest. I am absolutely thrilled today. We are sitting down with a true counterculture icon, a master of the jam and the heart of the Grateful Dead. For those who may somehow not know who you are, who are you?
Hey there, Calvin. It's a real trip to be here. I'm Jerry Garcia. Most folks know me as the guitar player and singer for the Grateful Dead, but I always just saw myself as a guy who really loved making music and seeing where the notes would take us.
The pleasure is all ours, Jerry. Let's go back to the very beginning. When and where were you born?
I made my debut on August 1st, 1942, right in the Mission District of San Francisco, California.
And what was your given name at birth?
My parents named me Jerome John Garcia.
That's a strong name. Is there a story behind it?
There is! I was named after the composer Jerome Kern. My father was a professional musician, a jazz clarinetist, so music was literally in my name before I could even walk.
That explains a lot. What was your hometown like growing up?
San Francisco was a magical place, man. It had this thick fog and a real sense of community. I spent a lot of time in the Excelsior district. It was a working-class neighborhood, very diverse, and just full of life.
What was your family life like?
It was filled with music, and a bit of tragedy, too. My dad had his jazz background, and my mom was a nurse. We were close. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, too. My grandmother used to listen to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio, which is where I first fell in love with that country and bluegrass sound.
What kind of kid were you?
I was a bit of a dreamer, definitely artistic. I loved comic books and drawing. I was also a bit of a troublemaker in a quiet way. Just curious, you know? I wanted to see how things worked.
Did you have any big fears growing up?
Well, I lost part of my middle finger in a wood chopping accident with my brother when I was 4. For a while, I think there was a fear of being different or limited, but honestly, I just adapted. It eventually became part of my signature style on the strings.
It certainly did. What did you dream of becoming as a child?
I actually wanted to be an artist. I spent so much time drawing and painting. I didn't think of music as a career until much later. It was just something we did.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
I loved art class, obviously. I also enjoyed anything that involved storytelling. I wasn't the best student when it came to sitting still and following the rules, but if it was creative, I was all in.
What was your first job?
Aside from helping out at my mom's bar, I did a stint in the army when I was 17. It didn't last long. I wasn't exactly soldier material, but it was an experience.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
I think it was when I realized I didn't want the white picket fence life. While everyone else was looking for security, I was looking for an adventure. I realized my normal was just going to be different.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Buying my first guitar. I traded an accordion my mom bought me for a Dan Electro electric guitar. That one little trade set my whole life in motion.
That's a legendary trade. What was your biggest break?
Meeting Bobby Weir and Pigpen and forming Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions. That evolved into the Warlocks, and then, of course, the Grateful Dead. Finding those specific people was the lightning in a bottle moment.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
Just being broke. We lived in cars, stayed on people's floors, and played for basically nothing. We were just trying to keep the instruments tuned and the van running.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. The music was too much fun. Even when things were tough, the 15 minutes of magic on stage made the other 23 hours of the day worth it.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel were essential to your success?
Practice. People think we just went out there and jammed randomly, but I spent hours and hours every day playing scales, listening to old bluegrass records, and refining my touch. You have to work hard to make it look that easy.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
I probably would have been a landscape painter or a teacher. something where I could work with my hands and share ideas.
What was your life like before fame?
It was very free. We were part of the Palo Alto scene, hanging out at coffee shops, talking philosophy, and playing folk music. It was a very intellectual, bohemian time.
How did relationships change after success?
It got complicated. When you become a quote symbol, people stop seeing the human and start seeing the icon. It makes it harder to have simple, honest connections, but I always tried to keep my old friends close.
Did fame bring happiness?
It brought opportunity, which I loved. It allowed me to play with my heroes. But happiness, that always came from the music itself, not the fame.
What was the downside of becoming famous?
The lack of privacy. I couldn't just go to the park or a movie without it becoming a thing. I'm a pretty low-key guy, so the Captain Trips persona was sometimes a heavy coat to wear.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People thought I was the quote-unquote leader of the dead. I never wanted to be a leader. We were a collective. I was just one of the guys in the band.
What was your darkest moment?
I had some health scares in the 80s that really slowed me down. Coming back from that and having to relearn how to play was a very intense, quiet period of my life.
What past regrets did you carry?
I think I sometimes regretted that the scene around the band got so big that it became hard to manage. I felt a responsibility for all those people, and that was a lot of weight.
What's something people misunderstood about your life?
That it was all a party. For me, it was a craft. I took the music very seriously, even if I looked relaxed.
Tell me about a time when everything went wrong and how you handled it.
During the acid tests in the 60s, the equipment would break, the power would go out, and things would get chaotic. We handled it by just leaning into the chaos. We learned that if you don't fight the wrong things, they can become something new and interesting.
Did fame and fortune change your life?
It made life more comfortable, sure, but it didn't change my soul. I still wanted to play the same songs and hang out with the same kind of creative people.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My mother, for supporting my creativity, and musicians like Bill Monroe and Django Reinhardt. They showed me what was possible with an instrument.
What was life like in your final years?
I spent a lot of time diving. I loved scuba diving because underwater, I was weightless and nobody could ask me for an autograph. It was peaceful. I was also doing a lot of digital art and silk tie designs.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
I was still touring with the Dead and working on acoustic projects with David Grisman. We were always digging into those old traditional tunes.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on August 9th, 1995, in Forest Knolls, California.
What happened?
My heart finally just gave out. I had lived a very full, very fast life, and I was at a treatment center trying to get healthy, but it was just my time to go.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I was a huge fan of old school horror movies and sci-fi. I could talk your ear off about Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
What's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
That I had a secret language I used to communicate with the audience through my guitar. Well, maybe that one was actually true in a way.
What was your most unique habit?
I used to collect comic books long into adulthood. I loved the art and the storytelling in them.
What was your favorite food?
I loved a good chili dog. Simple, messy, and delicious.
Did you have a favorite restaurant?
Any little dive or diner in San Francisco where the coffee was hot and the people were real.
What was your favorite book?
I was very fond of Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut.
Did you have any known rivalries?
Not really. I wasn't a competitive guy. I felt like there was room for everyone to play.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
One time early on, we were so broke, we lived on nothing but Steinfeld sauerkraut for days. To this day, the smell of sauerkraut takes me right back to that little house in Palo Alto.
What's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
Probably any time we tried to take a group photo. Trying to get the Grateful Dead to stand still and look in the same direction was like herding cats on roller skates.
Did you ever prank someone?
We used to mess with the roadies all the time, switching around their gear or hiding things. It was all in good fun to keep the energy up on those long tours.
What was the most outlandish purchase you made?
Honestly, probably some of my custom guitars, like Wolf or Tiger. They weren't just instruments, they were pieces of art. And they cost a fortune at the time, but they were worth every penny.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Don't chase success. Chase the thing that makes you lose track of time. If you find something you love so much that you do it for free, then you've already won. The rest is just gravy.
Jerry, this has been an incredible journey. Before we sign off, do you have any closing remarks or stories you'd like to share with our listeners?
Just that I'm so glad the music is still playing. To see people still finding joy in those old songs, that's the real magic. Be kind to each other, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to take a long solo every now and then. Thanks for having me, Calvin. It's been a blast.
Jerry, thank you for coming on the show and sharing your light with us. It's been an honor to hear about the man behind the music, from the art school dreams to the legendary jams. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.